This one is for my girlies in their 20s who are feeling a little bit behind. You may jump on social media and scroll away only to see different proposals, baby announcements, someone closed on a house, someone bought a new car, someone got promoted. All of these things can be scary, it can be a little intimidating, and sometimes even laughable at times how behind you can feel when you're consuming all of this content. And honestly, social media has really only elevated this entire thing for us that much more, because all of a sudden what you're seeing is everyone's highlight reel. You're seeing the good stuff, you're seeing all of these people that are seemingly ahead of you. And I just wanted to make a quick note to you, and in some ways to myself. I am about to turn 28 years old in just a couple of days, which I'm very excited about, but I was definitely the girl that grew up believing that I was going to be married by like 23, kids by 25, all of this kind of stuff was just what I imagined life to be. That's what I thought would be my reality. I think a lot of women feel that pressure and go through a little bit of that overwhelm and stress at times when you are approaching 30 and you're just starting to feel like, okay, I am not where I thought I would be. And so I wanted to make a quick note to people who might think that, feel that, or maybe you're going to feel that. Hopefully you can think back to a video like this, and a couple of the things that I've said will hopefully resonate with you. So first things first, comparison is definitely the thief of joy. I'm sure you've heard that phrase before. It could not be more true. But here's the thing about comparison. A lot of times you're comparing without any real foundational information. You're comparing without actually knowing everything that went into their story, their origin, in order to get where they are now. And so we look at these people online and we think, oh my gosh, how did they do that? How did they get married already? How did they do this? And you may even feel envious or jealous at times. You may look at them and think, well, I'm prettier than them, or I'm smarter than them, or I'm this, or I'm that, or you think the opposite. You think, well, it's only because they're so pretty or they're so smart that they were able to accomplish that. Now, first I want to just say that those thoughts are only self-destructive. Those are not serving you in any way, shape, or form, and nor are they rooted in any truth. The reality is there is more than enough for everyone to go around, and your time is coming. It just looks different than someone else's. In the olden days, there was definitely a lot more of a one path to success as far as what the American dream looked like. And so it's not uncommon that people in older generations got married young and had kids young and had these different sort of societal norms. And now as we sit today, we have so much opportunity that lies in front of us. And in some ways, that's a great thing. And in other ways, it's just changed the timetables for which those things happen. And so you have to give yourself a little bit of grace. And so this message to myself in my earlier 20s, and hopefully someone who is in their 20s right now listening to this, is to slow down and enjoy the process a little bit. I know that for so many years of my 20s so far, I've put a lot of pressure on myself to achieve at a high level within my career, to make a bunch of money, to fall in love, to get engaged, to have all of these things that I was sort of checking off of this list. And some of them were actually not really rooted in the things that I truly wanted and desired deep down. They were more of like, I felt like I needed to, and it made everything feel like a really big deal. It made me feel like I had to rush. It made me feel like I was so behind because I was comparing myself to other people around me. And it really put me in this negative headspace and this negative spiral. And it's happened time and time again. And now I find myself at 28 years old in a lot of ways starting over. Now I am in a great relationship right now, which I'm really happy with and really proud of. And hopefully it turns into an engagement and a marriage. But at the end of the day, one freeing thought that helped me so much was understanding that everything is going to happen for you at the perfect time. And that perfect time may not be your perfect timeline in your head, but there is truly a plan, a rhyme, and a reason for everything that happens. And I need you to have a little bit more faith, a little bit more trust, a little bit more belief that it is happening for you. For me, I am a strong Christian and I absolutely love investing my faith in the fact that God's plan is laid out exactly perfectly as He has designed it. And there are things that I won't understand, but that is just a part of the journey. And the more that you can truly believe and have faith in that possibility, I think the more stress you can alleviate from yourself. If you're not a believer, it still is so important to just have faith and belief that things are going to work out for you. It's just gonna maybe look a little different than you thought, than you imagined, or than you have planned. Because at the end of the day, though we tend to think that we're always right, the reality is you're not always right. And you may not have it all figured out. You may not have the perfect plan. And so it is really important to free yourself from that thought and try to just relax a little bit, slow down and enjoy the process. So that is thing number one, is in your 20s, try to enjoy the journey a bit more, slow down a bit, remember to do things that are fun, make time to make memories, and just enjoy that you are going to be the youngest that you've ever been in that moment, and you want to cherish those times. Number two is definitely pouring into and investing in people in your life. I was so committed to my work and my career in my early 20s that I really kind of overlooked the importance of having truly incredible girlfriends and relationships and people in my life. And so when I found myself, I think it was 21 or 22, when I went through a devastating breakup. It was someone I was with. We were set to be engaged. We had a business together. We had a house together. We had all of this stuff together. And seemingly overnight, it ended. He cheated on me. It was a whole disastrous experience. And I was completely blindsided. And the worst part of the entire thing is that in that moment, I did not have a support system. Now, a couple people really stepped up for me, but those were people that I was not even close with, and I am so unbelievably grateful for them, and they know exactly who they are. So if you're watching this, I love you. That really helped to pull me through that time. And it was those people and those moments that I remember really realizing and understanding how important it is to have people that you love unconditionally. And this is coming from a girl to the girls. I also think that truly your girlfriends are your soulmates. It is completely unrealistic to expect that your partner, your relationship, your spouse is gonna fulfill all of your needs in life. And so if you don't have like girlfriends and people that you can really pour into and giggle with and like do things that fill you with so much joy, you are going to feel this sort of lack of like fulfillment. So it is so crucial to find your people, and you will find them. I found my people by going out and like doing things that I loved and then putting myself out there a little. I tend to be more introverted, but I started going to things and I found the most incredible people, and it took time, but it doesn't take many. You don't need a ton of people in order to feel this really deep, true love. And encourage you also, as you're going through that, to pick and choose, because there are also going to be people that you probably encounter that don't always have your best interests at heart, that aren't always going to be loyal and honest and good to you. And so if you come across those people, don't cling to them out of the need or desire to have friends and people in your life, but really make sure that you are selective, and when you find good people, pour into them just as much as they pour into you. Next thing on the docket is remember to have fun. Sort of similar to the first one, but it is so important to enjoy the time that you are in. And if that means that you spend some of your money on a plane ticket to go travel and experience something rather than just stash it away, I think that that is a worthy investment. And now this may sound crazy coming from someone like me, because I talk a lot about money. I talk a lot about how to invest your money and how to be smart with your money and how to build up your finances. And all of that is extremely important. And in some ways, you will need to make sacrifices in order to put yourself ahead financially for your future. But at the same time, I don't want you to wind up being 30 or 40 or 50 years old and finding yourself without many life experiences, finding yourself without many of these cherished memories, finding yourself realizing that, oh my gosh, I went through much of my life without having fun. And so there is about finding somewhat of a balance here, but I want you to remember to prioritize experiences and fun while you're in your 20s, because especially if you have intentions to have children and to do all these other things, sometimes that can get more challenging as you get later in life. And so I encourage you to just make the most of those times when you're young. The other thing about that is the experiences of like traveling and doing things when you're young young is just different than when you're old. So even when you're a little older, like you'll maybe have more money. And so maybe those trips will look more luxurious and it'll look different. You guys will go different places. But when you're young and you're kind of just like piecing things together, those truly are some of the most magical times. And I find in my life, whenever I'm going through a challenging time, I typically am reverting back to those kind of memories to kind of give me that burst of joy and excitement to keep going and to push through any of those challenges. So collect memories like they are your most valuable possessions, because they truly, truly are. And the last piece of this, which I think is arguably the most important piece of this entire equation, is to invest in yourself. See, here's the thing. I know that it can be challenging, especially the relationship piece. Like in my mind, I still would love if I was married. I dream of being married one day. But at the same time, I can sit here in this moment today and look back at myself in all of the previous years and understand that I was not the person that I needed to be in order to find a partner who would truly be a loyal, committed partner for life. And so even if that means that it's taking a little bit longer, it's so much more important to invest in yourself. That is one thing you will never, ever, ever, ever regret, is investing in yourself. So make sure that you're focusing on things like your mental health. If you really battle with things like anxiety or OCD or depression or manic or stress or any of these things, find healthy ways to cope with it, whether that is talking to somebody, and maybe it's journaling, maybe it's whatever it is. You just need to go through the process and the steps to understand yourself and take care of yourself mentally. The same thing is true with getting to know yourself, because I'll be honest with you, I just told you that brief story of this like disastrous relationship that ended in a really painful separation and everything for me when I was like 21, 22 years old. And as much as that was devastating, I could not be more grateful for the fact that I did not end up with that person, not because they're an awful person, though they aren't the best, but more so because I am not the person that I was in that relationship for the best. I have improved so much. I have changed so much. And I realized as coming out of it, I had allowed myself to become so molded into what that person wanted me to be and what their lifestyle was. Because as humans, your brain's not fully developed yet in those younger years of your life. And so if you're going through that and you're in a relationship, that's not a bad thing. It just means that you are likely going to completely change who you are in so many ways for the best over the next couple of years. And by the time you are in your later 20s and early 30s, that's when you've really typically started to kind of figure out, okay, this is who I am. This is what I want. This is who I want to be. This is what I'm proud to be. And so if there's one piece of advice that I really hope sticks with anyone listening to this video, it is to really, really focus in your early 20s on investing in yourself, getting to know yourself, therapy, read books, go to events, put yourself in uncomfortable situations, understand your attachment style, understand how you navigate challenging conversations, invest in your physical health, your mental health, your spiritual health. Try to become the most whole and well-rounded version of yourself, because not only are you going to have massively increased self-love and self-worth, which will help you to attract better people all around and probably better things in your life, but also more often than not, that is when you find the right person. Because when you're operating in this like true, authentic, best version of yourself, oftentimes you're going to attract in the partner that sees you for that, that loves you for that, that is that as well. And it'll lead to a much happier and better relationship. So if you ask me, I would much rather have to wait in order to find a true person who is so incredible for me, who is ready and willing and interested in investing in me as well, and getting married then, rather than rushing it to meet this crazy timeline that I've set in my head, only to end up unhappy or separated in the future. So those are just a couple of tips or things that I wish somebody had told me sooner in life that I think could be really helpful if you're in your 20s and you're feeling behind and you're comparing yourself to others. Is really, really important just to focus inward and surround yourself with good people and try not to compare, because you don't know the journey that they've been on in order to get to where they are right now. Just focus on yourself, know what you want, figure out what you you want and love yourself wholly. And I promise you, that's gonna pay dividends in the future. I hope this was helpful for some of you. If you guys have any questions, anything you wanna see, drop it down below. Be sure to subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next video.